Hi, and welcome back to Brickanics and this second episode in this LEGO custom build series, creating the battle for Yerbana City. This is a large-scale custom LEGO creation that I'm currently working on, which is based off of the Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 9. In the last episode, I shared the backstory to this MOC as well as some of the plans for the build itself, and we were able to build up the front cliff face or the front cliff edge to the MOC, which was some great progress to be had there in that first episode. If you haven't seen that episode, I'll put a link on the screen above as well as down in the description below, so I would encourage you to check it out. If you're new to the channel and you're not subscribed, I would certainly invite you to subscribe. That way you can keep up with new content and follow this series itself. In this episode, I would have to say it's a very foundational episode and very critical to the build as we move forward, as I focus mainly on how to bring the rest of the MOC up to the same height as the cliff edge. And it was quite a journey in me figuring out how I can use the least amount of bricks to accomplish that goal. So I'll take you on that journey right now. I do know that I made a little bit of an error and did not press record on a large chunk of time lapse. So whatever, we'll work our way around that. But that's enough of me talking. Let's get into it. First order of business this week is to start working on the filler brick to bring the height of the MOC up to the cliff edge here. And I need to determine exactly if I want to come even with the cliff edge or if I want to come one plate on top of the cliff edge. We'll have to wait and see what that looks like when I get there. Another key element to this is maximizing the space that I get out of my filler brick. I think a key element to maximizing your filler brick is understanding the plate size that you're working with, because you can go wider depending on the plate that you have. So what I want to do is determine the plates that I'm going to use and help that guide the filler brick pattern that I use here. So I think I have a pretty good technique going here now for this first area of filler brick, and I'm going to go ahead and run this all the way down the front section here, nice and tight like this, so I can plate on top of it, probably mostly using like 2x2 and 2x4 olive green plates for grass on top of here, on top of the cliff. But the simple pattern that I'm really kind of using, the technique, is laying out 2x4 bricks and then staggering 1x6 bricks on top of that, and then just kind of going up again with another row of 2x4 bricks like that. So that's the strategy. I'm going to continue working down this wall. We made it. We made it to the end. I gotta tell you, it was a bumpy ride. It's all smooth sailing at first, but then you start running into things just don't line up the way you want them to line up. But we made it, and I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, it's filler brick, so it's not the most exciting stuff here, but I feel like maybe I was able to save some space. We'll have to see. I'm not sure. It's still a ton of bricks, but like I said, I was building this first section up a little bit tighter than maybe I will the rest of the MOC. So next step here is to get some plates on top of here so I can start seeing a little bit of what the cliff edge's landscape is going to look like, and then we can start continuing out here with filler brick. Aha, I'm glad I caught this before I plated out the top, because that would have made things a little bit more difficult. I actually want to swap these 2x2 dark tan tiles out for 1x2 dark tan or 1x2 or 2x2 black tiles, because this is actually all going to be black here. You know, this cliff top just represents the very top of a much larger cliff. So I'm just gonna put black here just to kind of represent that, you know, there's more to what meets the eye as far as this cliff face goes. So yeah, let's get those swapped out, and then I can go ahead and start plating the top here. So as you can see, I just went ahead and put all the black tiles in here on the front of the cliff to represent that void here on the front of the MOC. So this is like non-existent, and then we just have this tip of the cliff edge going around. So I think that looks pretty good, and now we can continue on with doing the top here. So I thought it would be a good time to stop and just kind of explain to you how the grade or the landscape is going to be working for this MOC. So how I'm going to work in the landscape texture with this MOC is this dark tan is going to be kind of the base floor or grade level for the entire MOC. And if we're going to go above grade with some grass, the shallow grass areas will be this olive green color, and it'll be raised up one plate just like this to represent some shallow grass. If we're going to get into some deeper grass, I'm going to raise it up one more plate to add another dimension of texture to the MOC, and we're going to use dark green for those areas. I will have some plants and some foliage around the MOC as well. Now the interesting part is if we're going to have ditches or holes and we're going to go below grade, we're going to get into a more brown color to represent our below grade. So if we're going to have holes or something that's below this surface level, it's going to be a darker brown. And if we're going to dig deeper than that, then we're going to get into some rock areas. And this MOC is going to have some deep holes in it that'll be below grade, that'll have mud and it'll have rocks. So I'm pretty interested to see how those elements to the MOC turn out as we progress. There we go. We've got the front edge of the cliff all plated out, waiting for grass. And I'm pretty much gonna bring grass all the way up to the edge, just like you see in this picture of Yerbana. But I did leave a few tile areas where, you know, I'll have some wedges kind of going over it and not exactly meeting up right to the edge. But I think this is looking pretty good. Now it's time to start working our filler brick backwards and filling in the rest of the MOC. All right, so, you know, I'm just trying to figure this stuff out as I go and just try to provide as much insight as I can to what I'm doing, what my thought process is, how I'm problem solving, and different things like that. But what I've been working on here in this corner is, first, I needed to kind of start figuring out how the different layers of this planet were gonna go as I go around and frame this MOC, because I wanna have, different, I guess, sediments or different layers of land mass kind of going through. So we have a surface kind of rock and dirt, and we have more deeper, wetter kind of rock and mud, and then we have just our rock as we go around. So that's what I kind of made here on this side. And then if you remember, I told you, depending on the size plate that you're using, you can space your filler brick out. And that's kind of the plan I thought, or the plan of attack I was going to have in this area. And that's really exactly what I've done here. As you've seen, I've just tried to get as high as I can with the least amount of bricks as possible, just crossing and building little pillars as I go. And that's really just going to allow me to sit this plate down and get a lot of coverage with not as much filler brick. So I think that's a pretty good strategy that I can continue to try and use. Here's another example of just how I'm trying to maximize my bricks. I have a bunch of these 1x4 bricks, so I'm just building these pillars and just kind of going across the MOC here the best I can. The system seems to be working out for me so far. I'll show you guys what this looks like from the back. And you can see, I mean, look how many bricks I saved here. And that's sturdy. That's okay. I'll take that, right? I'll take that. And just look how much space there is under there. Man, oh man, I wish I would have come up with this sooner. I mean, look at this one, guys. Look at that one. I mean, wow. I'm telling you, this is the way to go. So I've made a few changes to the plate layout here, which I'll get into these dark bluish gray ones in a second. But man, oh man, Yerbana is really starting to take shape. These black tiles define the edge of this cliff so well. I'm actually loving the way that looks. Really cool. But yeah, so these tan plates here, you're not gonna see those, right? They're gonna be covered with grass. Most of this cliff edge here will be covered in grass. These are just going to be covered over. I was just trying to conserve dark tan plates, so I'll just use those because I have a ton of those. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at these dark bluish plates and what's going on here. All right, so when you look at the MOC from this angle, like I said before, these tan plates will be covered, but when we take a look at these dark bluish gray plates, they actually sit down one plate lower than the tan. And that's because this is gonna be like a path leading up to Yerbana City over here. And I wanted the path to be the color of dark tan, and I wanted the terrain to be textured between smooth tile and studs. So when I do that, I wanted to be able to come up and then have that be even with these tan, so that when I put the olive grass over top, that it all works out. All right, well, just to remind you of the layout here and how this is all gonna work out once it's done and complete, is there's gonna be a dirt road here that leads up to Yerbana City, which is gonna be in this entire area here. And then we're gonna have a little mountain range right here. Now, Yerbana City itself is going to be kind of a dark, gritty, industrial type city. I'm gonna use dark bluish gray in a lot of the buildings, but I'm also gonna use light bluish gray. And I'm also thinking about using some sand blue in there as well, and some browns. I think that'll look good. But yeah, all in all, I think if I can get what's in my head out and onto this canvas, we should be in pretty good shape. So this week I really want to focus on bringing the rest of the MOC up to the same height as the cliff edge. So I want to finish with all the filler brick, and I want to finish laying down all the plates. I would also like to really get into doing some of the landscape. I think that would be a lot of fun. It's not something that I've really done a lot of before. So yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into that. I also wanted to thank King Jake for a comment he left on the last video, which gave me the idea to work in some elements to this MOC, like it was a mining town, or that they were doing some mining out of the mountain. So I want to work in a ditch in the back of the MOC, which kind of runs into the side of the mountain where they're kind of extracting these minerals out of the mountain. So that's pretty critical that I get done early in the MOC as well, because I need to know how much space I'm going to have for other buildings and things. So I'm going to get that worked in as well. So if you want to see the progress that I make in the next episode, which would be episode 3, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you like the progress that I've made so far on this build, I would ask you to hit the like button. That way others can find the video, they can find this series, and they can find the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. So thank you for watching this episode. You guys have a great day. I appreciate you. Thank you.